Breaking news, Bryan Kohberger now says he's innocent. Here is his full text message and court filing. As you can see behind me, Bryan Kohberger's petition was filed on July 27th of this year. Within that filing, Bryan Kohberger is asking that his guilty plea be retracted. Behind me is a handwritten affidavit by Bryan Kohberger himself explaining why he believes he is entitled to that. It reads as follows. It is hereby declared that during an attorney-client discussion, most of which included all members of Bryan Kohberger's immediate family, petitioner was convinced to falsely confess to capital murder, in addition with his other charges, disinformation, false promises, and the withholding of exculpatory discovery. He goes on to state that during this plea discussion, he was not told that there were clumps of hair found in Ethan Chapin's hand. However, in a court filing on June 6, 2025 by Ann Taylor, Bryan Kohberger's attorney, it says that, quote, debris was examined for hairs microscopically consistent with hairs in the head hair sample of Bryan Kohberger, but none were found. This was about a month before Bryan Kohberger agreed to the deal with prosecutors to plead guilty. He then says he was convinced that actual guilt was not an important factor when considering a plea acceptance. He said because the DP was on the table, he was told that it didn't matter and he should lie about being guilty no matter what, because in doing so, he would avoid the DP. He then goes on to state that through his counsel, he received an elaborate story of what death row would be like, and some of the horrific experiences in the 8-by-8-foot cell that you would be in for death row. And here is the final page of his complaint document. Kaylee's father has spoken out and says that he is not surprised by Kohberger's new claim and referred to him as, quote, the mosquito you can't seem to swat. In addition to that, here is the text message from Bryan Kohberger. Quote, over 1 year later, it is self-evident that in State versus Bryan Kohberger, justice was not served. Unanswered questions seem to multiply with each piece of discovery unsealed, and the public demands the truth. Unfortunately, the truth shall never be derived from the state's myopic narrative, a work of fiction which has yet to evolve since the PCA was released nearly 4 years ago, and its faulty premises were never challenged at trial. Circumnavigated by broken plea, the trial never provided the public the clarity conducive to closure, and justice shall remain objectively miscarried unless the plea is withdrawn. I hereby declare my intention to enter a not guilty plea and welcome this state the opportunity to prove their case at trial, as well as to again file for the DP. My actual innocence is my truth, and the plea hinged on by false promises and blatant disinformation must be withdrawn. Thank you to all who believe in my innocence and continue to critically analyze the case. I send my love to my family who have never wavered in their belief in who I am and their belief in my innocence. The Idaho Attorney General has spoken out saying, quote, my heart goes out to the families of Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan who have already endured unimaginable loss and now must face today's deeply painful news. My office stands ready to do whatever is necessary to ensure justice is fully carried out. In Idaho, you can get a guilty plea overturned if you can prove that you took advice from an ineffective counsel, which is exactly what Bryan Kohberger is now trying to say. To stay up to date on this case, make sure you click the playlist below. I'll keep you guys updated. What do you think? Drop in the comments.